Arsenal have beaten Chelsea 2-3 Stamford Bridge to take an advantage in the Carabao Cup Semi Final in 3 weeks back at the Emirates. We're going to look back at the game, all the talking points, including a good performance of Victor Gyökeres after much questioning about his ability, and also around Mikel Arteta's substitutions. Did those changes lead to a sloppiness with the 2 Chelsea goals? We're then going to preview our Premier League game this weekend as we visit the City Ground to face Nottingham Forest. Forest, always a tough fixture, always going to be physical. What can we expect? How do we go about getting those 3 points? And who's going to start? All of this to come on episode 37 of Red Lines and Half Spaces. Welcome to episode 37 of Red Lines Half Spaces. Back again. As I said the last time, games are coming thick and fast. Chelsea away in the Carabao Cup Semi Final, just done. Nottingham Forest this week. It just keeps on coming. But here's someone who just keeps on going. It's our co-host, Joe. How are you doing, Joe?
Mate, I am wet. I am moist.
I don't want to, mate. This is we're trying to make
don't worry, we're going to get to why in a minute, but I have rushed home to fit in this podcast in the very small window that we have between us. So, from my house from the station is all uphill. So we got a hot step on. It was raining and wet, but we've made it. Mate.
But you're an athlete, Joe. This is the thing. Joe is a bit of an athlete, so I would have thought he'd be pumping up this hill and just.
You're very generous, mate. No, it's not nice this weather, is it? It's not nice. But we made it. We're here. We're here to talk about Arsenal after another good couple of fixtures, mate. So yeah, all good. How are you? You well?
Yeah, very well, mate. Always good when Arsenal win. Your mood just we always say it. Our mood just lightens up a little bit. Makes such a difference. It does. I wouldn't say I'm like completely happy, but that's just me being me, isn't it? Because
that's just standard Yeambele.
Yeah, exactly. but the thing is, I don't think any Arsenal fan is like overjoyed because there are a few concerns that have come in from yesterday. It's great to win in the Carabao Cup Semi Final, so let's jump into it. Joe, last night, as we record on a Thursday morning, Arsenal have beaten Chelsea in the Carabao Cup first leg of the semi-finals, 3-2, 2-3. Going into this game, a lot have been made about Chelsea's upheaval. So obviously Enzo Maresca had left by mutual consent. I say mutual, but we know what really happened. And Liam Rosenior, who was the former manager of their affiliate club Strasbourg, has taken over. So a lot of spotlight on Liam Rosenior with his experience and Chelsea being Chelsea, big job. There was also some noise around, obviously there's a lot of injuries from Chelsea side, concerns around, are they prioritising this or is it their league position more important? Joe, for us, obviously, it's the chance we are close to winning hopefully a first trophy of the season. But how are you feeling going into this game? Because obviously we are that close. We've mentioned it on the last podcast. It's not necessarily the top of our priority list, but it is a trophy. And we've obviously talked about and many podcasts have talked about it, the Latte Firm, all the good podcasts, about winning that first trophy and getting over the hump. William Saliba has said it as well. I want to win something this season. I don't like having nothing at the end of the season. Where do you stand on this? Just talk about initially your feelings about the game, Chelsea's upheaval and their approach to this game, as well as the prioritization of this cup over the others.
In terms of Chelsea, we'll start with them because I won't have much to say about Chelsea because who really cares about that club? But it fits in with what they do, isn't it? I mean, I know they've gone for Liam Rosenior, which is a bit of a strange one, but they're used to kind of rotating managers in and out fairly quickly. As a club, you can't really argue that I know it hasn't in recent years, but in over sort of the course of the last 20 years, would you say it's served them quite well? They've quite regularly picked up trophies. They've got into major finals. They've done quite well. Obviously, that's changed over the last few years, but they're always there or thereabouts, and they're not like. I know Manchester United got to the Europa League final last year, but if you compare the two, Man United have obviously had a lot of upheaval of managers, but I mean, I think Ten Hag won the FA Cup, did he? But other than that, off the top of my head, I don't think they had great success. Whereas I think Chelsea were quite successful when you look at Di Matteo came in and won the Champions League. You had sort of Ancelotti came in and done what he done, and there was so it's worked for them. So I wasn't entirely surprised. I did think it looked very odd when Liam Rossini was walking around the pitch clapping the Chelsea fans. It looked really strange to me.
It looked like a school teacher, didn't it? It looks like a school teacher, doesn't it?
It didn't fit, did it? It was weird. But in terms of Arsenal, in years gone by, mate, I'd been more than happy to throw this game in the bin, to be honest. Play whatever reserves, whatever under 21s players you've got. But given the squad we've built now, given the fixture list that is upcoming, I feel like we've got the opportunity now to really rotate players in and out of these games, and it shouldn't affect the outcome of games. I feel like we've now got a squad that's deep enough to go to Stamford Bridge and compete, get a result. We should then have the squad that is capable of going to Forest, getting the win. We then go off to Inter Milan and we can rotate again. Whereas in years gone by, mate, all Arsenal fans can relate. We've had a squad, but realistically only sort of 14 or 15 players who are good enough. Whereas now I feel we're closer to the 20 players who are good enough. So it's a position we've not been in. So I'm willing to kind of change my mindset, if you want, for the Carabao Cup and be a bit more open to going for it this year, you know.
No, and fair enough. I understand that. We've got a deep squad. And even though we had a deep squad, Mikel, obviously, yesterday, the lineup was very strong. So Kepa Arrizabalaga in goal. Ben White coming in at right back. Saliba, Gabriel, although there was a concern about Saliba, he did make the starting lineup. And Jurrien Timber at left back. And I'll talk about that in a minute because I thought that was actually the right move. I know there was some discussion about Miles Lewis-Skelly. In the midfield, Zubamendi, Rice starting. And then obviously with Martin Odegaard. Up front, Trossard, Gyökeres, and Bukayo Saka. Joe, very strong lineup. You know, you just talking about it. We have the 20 to accommodate this rotation. And we did rotate against Portsmouth. But did you think we'd go this strong against Chelsea? I know it is Chelsea, obviously, and it is a semi-final. I honestly thought we'd have a little bit more rotation, but only really was there some change, you know, the change at right back to bring in Ben White, Jurrien Timber shift to left back, and then Kepa Arrizabalaga as the cup goalkeeper, although I don't like that word. But obviously Jurrien Timber came in, and we could see why during the game, because if Miles Lewis-Skelly had been there, and to your point, Joe, in the last game against Liverpool, I think Esteval would have eaten him alive. Because I thought Frimpong had a good, and you mentioned it as well. Frimpong, if he had more end product, would have absolutely, you know, destroyed MLS. Esteval, I rate very highly. I think he's going to be a superb player. He really did go at Jurrien Timber. And if Jurrien Timber wasn't one of the best fullbacks in the league, I think it would have been more of a problem. So just talk to us about that point, but also as well the strong lineup that Mikel Arteta put out.
Yeah, mate, this is kind of the point we were making, wasn't it? That we've now got a squad where you can put out a strong team. And realistically, that shouldn't affect the team or the strength of the team that we can then put out at Forest at the weekend. Whereas in years gone by, we might have had a Newcastle, for example, last year, where we'd have to play the strongest 11, but then that strongest 11 played in the game before, it played in the game after. Whereas now we're able to go, okay, we can move players in and out. We can bring in a sort of a Ben White. We can bring in Gabriel Jesus. We can bring in Noni Madueke, Eze. We've got loads of options now. I know we're sort of struggling a bit with injuries at the back again, but we are just in a much better place to be able to compete across multiple competitions rather than going, okay, let's focus on two and we'll see how we do in two and we'll judge it as we go. Whereas now you could say we're ready to compete in all four because we've got the squad to do it, which is obviously a massive thing for us and something that we're not used to. What was your other point, Yem? Sorry, I've waffled about.
Miles, you know, Jurrien Timber coming in over Miles Lewis-Skelly, and and the discussion with Esteval, you know, him going up against Esteval.
Yeah, Miles has struggled a bit this year. I don't know whether it's a lack of or a total loss of confidence. I don't know whether he's maybe got a slight knock. I don't know whether he is just sort of has been found out somewhat, if you like, by opposition, sort of managers, players, whatever it might be. but he's just not looked at the level he was last year, and that's totally understandable as a young kid. We was blown away by the level he was last year. So for him to replicate that again would have been difficult. But I think the concern is, mate, that for me, he looked mobile last year, whereas against Frimpong and sort of others in recent games, he looks a bit sort of stuck in the mud. Like he doesn't look like he's got any sort of pace. He looks like Mertesacker speed, which is no disrespect to Per Mertesacker, but he's not able to run with anyone. He's getting burned regularly. So I do wonder if we're beginning to move towards a time where MLS is seen as a midfielder now. And if once all our injuries are kind of sorted and we're back up to a sort of a full complement of defenders, whether you'll start seeing MLS maybe pushed into midfield more, and then maybe come the summer, we look at a potential left back coming in. But he's been struggling at left back, and to your point, I think Esteval's a really good player, and I think he would have had sort of the overwhelming majority of the battles won if he had come up against MLS, as opposed to Timber.
Yeah. And we'll talk a little bit more about the game in a minute, but I want to go through some stats with you, just basic stats that we usually cover. Ball possession-wise, 42% for Arsenal, 58% for Chelsea, and we'll talk about that in a minute. The expected goals, and this is where I'm going to have the big gripe with this, 0.65 for Chelsea, 2.68 for Arsenal. Total shots, 10 for Chelsea, 17 for Arsenal. Big chances, 3, 1 for Chelsea. Joe, the overwhelming thing I've got from this game is, great, we have a lead. It is a slender lead, a 1-goal lead going into this game. But we did this to ourselves, really. We were so sloppy with the 2 Chelsea goals. They should have never have got a look in at this. And we've gifted 2 goals that should never happen. One from a set piece, one from just sloppy play. How do you view this, Joe, that it feels like we were so dominant in the game in every aspect, but yet we've got only 1 goal advantage to show for it?
Yes, it's frustrating, isn't it? I mean, before the game, if you offered me a 3-2, I would have taken it, to be honest. I don't know what your opinion is on that. I'm sure other fans might have said, no, we can beat him by more than that. But for me, a win away at Stamford Bridge, I'll take it. No questions asked. But given how the game panned out and the fact that obviously we were 2-0 up, they got one back, then it went to 3-1. You just feel like it was a bit of an opportunity missed. I still think at home we should be strong enough to win the tie. But considering they was missing Caicedo, they was missing Cole Palmer, they was missing Reece James, 3 key players for them, I really don't think we maximised that advantage we had. And ultimately, it's been the conversation around Arsenal a fair bit, hasn't it? That essentially we're not killing teams off, and at some point that may bite us on the rear end, if you like. But we need to be better at it. We need to be more clinical. We need to take our chances, and we need to kill games off, because ultimately, this was another game where if we had converted the chances we had, we could have looked to then start making subs and sort of saving legs for the weekend again. And that was another.
Well, I want to talk to you about the subs in a minute, but I want to talk to you about the goal. Let's talk about the incidents first. So the first goal in 7 minutes, Ben White, set piece. And this was a theme throughout, that they were struggling with our set pieces. And actually, I was a bit disappointed that we didn't do more from set pieces, considering how dangerous we were at them. But this one, Ben White with a little toe at the end, didn't know what he was doing. A little stooping header, probably wasn't concentrating on it, but he got the goal. And again, I'm really happy for Ben White. I just think he's such a good player. It's been such a hard season for him. It was a really well-liked goal, wasn't it, Joe, this one?
Yeah, it's standard from Declan Rice. Absolutely brilliant delivery again. Sanchez just sort of flapping around in a bit of no man's land, really, wasn't he? And Ben White was left with a really simple header. Obviously, loved the sort of the backstory of Liam Rosenius talking about set piece FC, and then within 10 minutes you can see the set piece. Love that.
Yeah.
But no, it was the perfect start, wasn't it? It's exactly the start you'd want in a difficult away game in a cup semi final.
Yeah, absolutely. And the interest, I loved that when VAR came up, they were looking at Victor Gyökeres being offside and that he was impinging, but Mark Guy was actually the one holding on to Victor Gyökeres and literally couldn't move. That was just the silliest VAR call I've ever seen. The next goal. Now, this is the interesting one. This is, we've been slating Victor Gyökeres hard on this channel, and I think rightly so. But this evening, in this game, I actually thought he had a decent game. He looked dangerous. He was occupying defenders, and he got his just reward with a striker's goal, a tap in. Gambled at the far post. Sanchez, the ball went through his hands. It should never have happened, but it did. And Victor Gyökeres was there sliding in to get the second goal. How did you view this one, Joe?
Interesting goal for me, Yem. I think if you look back at it, you see Gyökeres get very frustrated with Saka that he doesn't play the ball in earlier in the build up to it. And you can see he sort of throws his arms up, but then in fairness to him, he comes back alive again and he's back on the move. Ben White, lovely to see that kind of overlapping run that we associate with Ben White and just fire it across the box because things like that happen. Do you know what I mean? Like a lot of times we see Arsenal kind of stop it on the byline, bring it back to Saka, work it back round. But sometimes you've just got to throw the ball in the box and things happen. Gyökeres was in the
Why
right
don't we?
place.
So, Joe, this is an interesting point. What? Because you've raised it, I'm sorry to interrupt. The line that's been put out recently is we play with inverted wingers. That's been our trait for years, but it causes this problem where they have to keep cutting back inside. Saka and Martinelli, Trossard, etc., are all used to cutting back inside, recycling the ball, or crossing in the inverted angle, and that's not helping Victor Gyökeres. Now we know Victor Gyökeres has limitations. But I also do think there's some onus on our wingers who are not helping him, and also our midfield as well, who do not help him. Where do you stand on that? Do you feel that our inverted wing structure, while it's helped us in the past, is kind of hampering Victor Gyökeres in terms of goal hunting? Because we saw yesterday, as you just mentioned, that goal from Ben White was just a standard cross across the box. Nothing special, but he was there and he got the goal. And that's what you kind of want from your striker, isn't it? You're not going to, if you keep playing the inverted system, it's highly unlikely you're going to get more of those goals. And also as well, Timber doesn't really have the effectiveness, I think, that a Ben White has in terms of crossing the ball. I think he's an excellent defender and he's very good at going forward and dribbling, but delivering the ball, I don't think he's as good as Ben White. I think Ben White's crossing is exceptional.
Yeah, I think that's probably the one thing you'd want to see Timber improve on, in the fact that when you look at the areas that he does get into, there's not a lot of end product there at the moment. And I think that's something that he can improve at and probably will improve. But it's just, yeah, I think that, like you said, Yen, we've played with inverted wingers for such a long time. I probably would struggle to tell you the last left-footed player we had playing on the left-hand side. I know Madueke does it, but we know he's predominantly a right-sided player. And obviously Saka, since he's broken in the team, since he was 18, has been sort of the starting man on that side. So, yeah, it's a difficult one for strikers because obviously Alan Shearer and Gary Lineker had a really interesting discussion on it on their podcast, The Rest is Football, a few weeks ago. And they was kind of sympathising, saying how frustrating it is when you're a centre forward and you're making all these movements. But as soon as your winger checks back, all that does is all the defenders just catch up with you. And then you're just stuck in sort of the middle of about 3 or 4 defenders at times. So you saw the frustration with Gyökeres on that goal. And in that moment, I think you kind of, you feel a bit of sympathy for him because it's in moments like that when it becomes a bit more real and you understand the frustrations that he's having and why he isn't getting the amount of goals he did get. Don't get me wrong, I still think he can do more on a general sense, but in this game, I think he had a really good game. A lot more involved. Obviously got the goal, got the assist for the third goal as well. So it was a really positive performance from him. But how long we need to give him to fit into the system, or whether it's just going to be one of those things where if we're going to play Gyökeres, we have to play sort of a Martinelli on the right and maybe put Saka over on the left and try that possibly. I don't think we'll ever do that, but that would be one potential way of maybe seeing if you get more out of Gyökeres. But yeah, I think we're kind of set in the system we're doing, mate, and ultimately it's going to come down to Gyökeres to either fit into that system or probably be moved on at some point.
Yeah, I think there's still a debate as to how viable it is. We'll see if any changes are made. Chelsea then got back into the game. They made some substitutions, Mark Guy going off, Alejandro Garnacho coming on. rotation in the back line for Chelsea. This was a constant theme throughout the game, and I'll get your opinion on this afterwards, Joe, but they did find a way back in. Alejandro Garnacho getting the ball after some sloppy play again from the defence. Joe, what is going on with our defence? We were the team who were looking on course to be on par with the Chelsea team of a couple of years ago with 15 goals. And I know that it's a much tougher league now with the amount of games and the rigour that's going through. Where do you think that kind of defensive solidity has gone? Because it's gone by the wayside. Is it just because we're rotating so much and there's so many changes in the defence, it's not settled? And even today, Kepa Arrizabalaga, with that goal, made a huge mistake. It slipped through his hand and Garnacho was there to take advantage. It was really sloppy. I'm not happy with it. Where do you stand with this goal, Joe?
Yeah, I'm with you, but I think it comes partly from obviously the amount of rotation we've had, because at the sort of during that start of the season, it was Timber, Gabriel, Saliba, Calafiori, regular back four, obviously Raya in goal as well. Regularly starting. There was a spell for around 10 games maybe where they all kind of played, and that's why we look so settled. Obviously, recently of late, we've not had that. Obviously, we've had injury issues with Gabriel. We've had injury issues with Saliba. Timber's had to come outside. Calafiori's been injured. So it's to be expected that the defensive kind of solidity disappears somewhat when you're rotating that much, because you lose those partnerships, you lose that understanding. And I would foresee that when Calafiori's back and if Timber goes back across the right back and we have the centre-backs fit, you'd see us looking a lot better again. You'd see it a lot more structured. Everything would kind of go back, hopefully, to what we was witnessing at the start of the season. But until then, mate, it's not been great, has it? I mean, we've conceded a few sloppy goals. If it wasn't for David Raya in a few games, we would have dropped points because of it. He's made some unbelievable saves. Kepa, for me, this one was a bit disappointing. I don't think he needed to go and close Garnacho down. Just kind of stand on that. There's enough defenders there to go and do that. You just kind of stay back on your goal and protect the shot when it comes in. So, don't get me wrong, you can pick faults in it all day, every day. But, I mean, I think the way we lose the ball in the midfield, I think Zubamendi slips just as Odegaard kind of tries to flick it to him. And then, it is just poor all round, mate. And obviously, I'll give him a bit of leeway with the rotation aspect of it, but I still expect us to be dealing better with them kind of situations.
Yeah, I agree with you, Joe. But we did get back. We did get our lead back through Martin Zubamendi. What a fabulous goal this was. Victor Gyökeres with the assist. Little flick to Martin Zubamendi, who feinted past two defenders and slotted it in with his left foot. Really good goal, Joe. And he was actually really far up the field at points. I really liked it. I thought he was, he had a really good game as well. How did you see Martin Zubamendi's game and his goal, Joe?
Yeah, he was outstanding again, wasn't he? He had a really, really good game. Arguably man of the match if it wasn't for sort of the contributions of Gyökeres and Ben White getting a goal and an assist each. But he was brilliant, mate. He had a really solid game, topped it off with this wonderfully taken goal. I think Marino contributed as well. He done well when he came on, found Gyökeres with the pass. Another sort of impressive cameo from him. Seems to be kind of Mr. Reliable at the moment, Marino. Shout out to him. He's doing really well. But much better from Gyökeres as well. Obviously controlled the ball nicely, laid it off. That's what we want from him. Opening up sort of chances for other people and contributing to the team, not just with goals, but actually contributing within the game itself and linking the play. Huge criticism of him was that he doesn't do that. So this was welcome, mate, to see that he sort of can do it. And like we said, Zubamendi on his weaker foot took the finish brilliantly. It was a really good goal.
And this is the thing. Zubamendi is such a key part of our game, isn't he? We all know he's the six. His technique, his ability on the ball, his ability to sniff out problems when we're on the defensive is immeasurable. And when he's unfit, there's a difference, isn't there? You can tell when he's not fit because he looks off it. I saw him in the in the Liverpool game. He was hitting his leg just in frustration because he knows as well when he's not up to par. He's one of these elite players. He came from Sociedad, and I'm not being disrespectful for Sociedad. Sociedad are a very good team, but they're not elite. But he is an absolute elite player, isn't he? He can be world class. I think he will be eventually. But I think him and we've said it on this podcast many a time. him and Declan Rice could be one of the best midfield partnerships in the world, couldn't they?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And anyone who kind of takes the Rodri role for Spain, they've got to be a good player, haven't they? He's brilliant, but it does make you wonder if could we sort of, to throw a bit of a curveball and become more sort of unpredictable against opposition teams. Could you maybe see Rice fall back into the six at times and see Zubimendi bomb on? Because if he can finish like that and have that kind of finesse in the area to beat a man and finish, what an extra weapon that is, and how teams would then combat that because they're expecting Declan Rice to go, but then if he sort of switches and drops back in and Zubimendi goes, it's just another sort of feather in the cap, mate, to make us more unpredictable. So that would be interesting to see if that's something that might be used or utilised going forward.
Well, we saw that, didn't we, in the Spain Nations League games? He was getting a lot more forward, and then obviously yesterday we saw that as well. I think it's a really good idea, Joe. I think both of them are so well versed in the midfield traits that it would be silly not to try and expose that and try and rotate that kind of thing, because you don't have that, do you? You don't have two, let's call them midfielders, who can do everything, that can dominate the ball, pass it well, and also get in the area and cause problems. That's a different kind of midfield. That's a different problem, as you said. It's one that you won't know who's going. Is it Rice with his strength and his power and his running ability, or is it Zubimendi with his finesse technique? Really interesting problem to have. And I wish that would have been the only goal to close out that game, but it wasn't, unfortunately. We made some substitutions. Kai Havertz coming on for Declan Rice. Victor Gyökeres went off and Gabriel Jesus came on. I think this destabilised the game for me, Joe. Personally, I think Havertz, I have no problem with, because I think Havertz has more viability longer term for this season. I have concerns about Jesus at the moment because I can see physically he has dropped a hefty amount, and I think that's natural with a double ACL. I don't think he's at the Premier League level, unfortunately, physically. I think his technique is spot on, but physically he can't press anymore. He looks like he's struggling in the challenge. And those changes, similar to what's happened in the past, when Victor Gyökeres has gone off, it destabilizes our control structure. And so it proved, because Alejandro Garnacho got another goal. This one should never have happened again. This was, again, another soppy piece of play, wasn't it, Joe? And really disappointing again.
Yeah, the frustrating thing for me, mate, was before this goal, we obviously had the Mikel Merino chance, which to be fair,
which was a good save.
Great save. Really good save. Merino mishits that, it goes in. It's just pot luck that he strikes the ball as clean as you possibly could have wanted, and the keeper gets his foot out. So fair play to Sanchez. And then from the resulting corner, Gabriel with a free header, obviously down into the ground, and it bounces over the bar.
Which is it's not Gabriel, is it? He usually powers them in, doesn't he?
There were two chances there where that should have been 4-1, and that's game, set and match then. But yeah, we just, again, mate, like you said, it's just another sloppy, un-Arsenal-like goal this year, wasn't it? Chelsea.
But it happens when we lose. But it happens when we lose. Sorry, Joe. It happens when, I slate Victor Gyökeres, but when Gyökeres goes off, the stats don't lie. We lose control quite quickly, don't we? Why is that, Joe?
I don't know, mate. Like we said, like, for all Gyökeres' faults, he is a recognised centre forward. He knows how to operate in that centre forward role. He knows how to occupy defenders. He knows how to sort of keep people honest. And maybe by bringing on a Jesus, defenders know that they're not going to be, so they don't have to be pinned back by Jesus, because they know he'll be dropping deep. They know Havertz will be dropping deep. So straight away, the opposition team can squeeze up 5 yards, and all of a sudden we're being pressed all around the pitch, and we haven't got an out ball because the centre forward has dropped into the midfield and we've got nowhere to go. So I don't know whether that's part of it. Potentially it could be, but yeah, just another disappointing goal. Kepa, obviously, he got crowded out sort of in a similar way to what Sanchez did for our first one. And yeah, ultimately went to the back post. Garnacho's unmarked, and he took it well. To be fair, it's a difficult one to take in the sort of the conditions that we was playing in. But from our point of view, again, it's another goal that you expect better from us. And realistically, if we want to go on and win things this year, we can't be giving 2 goals away like we did in this game, because if you need to score 3 goals every week to win a game, then you're going to be dropping points sooner rather than later.
Especially with our creativity, because we can't create that. We don't create that many in a game. But Joe, obviously the game ended 2-3. Little fracas at the end with Zubamendi and Enzo Fernandez, who thought he was a big man as usual. I love that. I love that Zubamendi's got a little bit of a bite in him. He looks like he's very mild mannered, but when he's on the field, he's like a pit bull. I love it. Enzo Fernandez just huffs and puffs. He's nothing really. He's like a little pooch whose bark is worse than his bite. Honestly, but we do take an advantage back 3 weeks back to the Emirates. As you said, I think we should be looking at a win and then hopefully get to a final. It looks like at the moment it will be Man City, which is no one wanted that one, but it is what it is, especially with Antoine Semenyo looking very good for them right now. But we'll look ahead to that when the game comes along. Joe, Premier League action returns this weekend. We go away to Nottingham Forest this weekend. Now, Forest are an interesting club for me. Last year, absolutely on fire. Got into the Europa Conference League technically, then got into the Europa League by crying about it quite a lot to the authorities. But they were on course at one point for the Champions League. They were doing really well. But this season, obviously, they have faltered away and obviously now find themselves in 17th at the moment. But I always look at Forest, and especially this season, and I think, how are they that low? Because they look very good in some games, but they just keep conceding. And they're 17th. But if you look at their home games, Joe, they have been reasonable enough. They had a draw with Liverpool. They beat, they've done okay. They beat Tottenham. They've, beaten Man United. It's not exactly like they're. It's a very unusual one. But this season, they seem to have struggled a little bit. And obviously the upheaval with Nuno Espirito leaving, Sean Dyche coming in. I think Chris Wood has fallen onto the subs bench, and obviously there's some now rumblings that our former sporting director, Edu, is under pressure because of the signings that have been delivered. How do you view this game, Joe? Because even though they're 17th, I'm not taking this one lightly. I think this is a potential banana skin given Forest's directness, their pace on the break, and just their ability to be a problem for teams.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, mate. I think they'll be difficult. Obviously, under Sean Dyche, there's been a slight improvement from what Ange was doing over there.
Oh my God, I forgot about Ange. That PTSD, I forgot about that period.
He's a very forgettable bloke, yeah, don't worry. But yeah, Forest, they're having a bit of a struggle. Again, last year they was exceptional. They outperformed what everyone thought they were going to do. And maybe this year they've been found out a little bit and people are more wise to what they're doing. Clear what their strengths are. Everyone knows what they're about. Sort of that quick attacking football on the break with the wide players they have outstanding. But yeah, they've just been inconsistent, haven't they? Really, both home and away. They're a team who, on their day, can cause massive problems, and they're a team who the following week will look like a full 180. They'll look at the complete opposite of what they were the previous week. So it's going to be a tricky game. I think they are a difficult side. Let's not kind of beat around the bush. It'll be a tricky game. I just think that with our ability to rotate, I know I keep sort of harping on, and I've mentioned at the start, but I just think we have the ability to rotate. We've just come off the back of a good away win at Chelsea. I think you'll see not many changes from that team that beat Chelsea, to be honest. I think you'll see a very similar 11. What you might see is substitutes being used a bit earlier. But I think we should have enough to beat them, Yem, given the season they're having so far. This isn't the Forest that we played last year. They are a good side. But I think if we just look at this kind of black and white, this is a game where we should be winning. It's a game where in years gone by, if Liverpool were going there, if Man City were going there in their title winning seasons, they would go and win this 3-0, wouldn't they? It's that kind of result, and that's what Arsenal need to do this weekend.
Well, yeah, and also Forest have just been dumped out of the FA Cup by Wrexham. So, but they also have had a full week of rest, which is something they haven't had for a while because they've been in the Europa League. So obviously they're more rested than we are. They've still got really good players. They've got, Elliot Anderson, Morgan Gibbs-White, Murillo, really good players who I think will move on to bigger clubs, if we be very honest. Unless Mr. Marinakis does what he did to Morgan Gibbs-White. We all know what that is. I won't infer what that means. But Yeah, I agree with you, Joe. This is going to be a really awkward fixture, but we should have enough from either the outset or on the bench to really affect this game. But how do you view? Are we going to rotate heavily? Do you think, or is it going to be? You said you think it's going to be the same team, almost the same team, isn't it? Obviously,
Yeah,
David Raya should be coming back in.
I think you'll see David Raya come in. I think you'll probably see the same back four if Ben White is able to.
You don't think MLS will get into this game? Why do you think that, Joe? Is it again that there's a pacey
I
winger
think,
on the?
I think if you look at the form of MLS, and I think if you look at the pace that Forest have in wide areas, that's what MLS has been struggling with recently. So I think you may see Timber continue at left back. I think you'll see Rice, Zubimendi, Odegaard midfield, and I think you'll see the Trossard, Gyökeres, Saka. So I think you might see the goalkeeper change. But other than that, I think that'll be the only change, mate. What do you reckon?
I tend to agree with you. The reason is that, again, if we look further ahead and look to the intergame, is the intergame that important? From a big contest, yes. I think you're going up against one of the biggest names in Europe. You want to show your credentials. But from a Champions League perspective, we don't need it. With all due respect to Kairat Almaty, our final game, we should be absolutely battering them. And then you get your 3 points, and then we'll be top of the league. And that would be certain, because we only need 3 more points to conclusively be that number one, and that's important. So I would think for Inter, we don't need to go full pelt. I know Mikel is a bit of a psychopath at some point. He probably would, but I think this game is very important because it's a potential banana skin that we've not done well with in the past, and we need to really restamp those credentials in the title race. We didn't do it against Liverpool, and we've gone into the Liverpool result. I think this one we need to reset, go back and start putting our stamp on games, because we've got, again, more games are coming. It's thick and fast. We've got, Man United the weekend afterwards, big game, because United is always a big game, but you want to show even more, again, that you want to, grab a hold of this title race. Hopefully City can drop points. They are defensively uncertain, but they've got Antoine Semenyo, who I talked about, and that's added to their firepower. So this game this weekend is a game that you look at and you think you have to win these. If you're going to win the title, these are the top games you have to win, no doubt about it. But Joe, we're gonna park that one now. Hopefully this weekend we will get the win, and we can talk about it in our post-review show. And we're going to move on to our predictors. Joe, seeing it's a predictor time, it's over to you, my friend.
It feels like it's been an awful long time since we've done this, Yen.
I know it has been.
I can't even remember the last set of fixtures that we was able to do this, because obviously we had the Christmas thing and everything going on. And then do you know what? I think the last predictions you've done probably with Wayne.
Yes, they were, with the Everton game in mind, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I
mean, how long was that?
I think just take it as our points are right now, and we'll go from here, and we'll hopefully keep consistent. Probably won't happen, but we like, it's a bit of fun, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly that, mate. So, interestingly, the early kickoff this Saturday is United at home to City. So
I saw the advert for this. I was like, it's so muddled this weekend. I don't know how this happened, but I'm guessing with a 12:30 kickoff, Sky just said we want to have that, and that was it. First game for Michael Carrick. What a game to start off, and with the Glazers and Ineos in town. No pressure on him, is there at all? I think City are going to absolutely batter United. I can't see anything else but a City win here. We keep doing this every week, that there's going to be a Haaland hat-trick. I think there's going to be a Haaland hat-trick this weekend. This is it. I'm giving my Haaland hat-trick star here.
The only problem is, you can't have a Haaland hat-trick and a 2-1 unless he scores an own goal.
I do not do a 2-1 my 2-1's coming, though. Don't you worry. I'm going to go for a 4-0 to City.
Wow.
I think it's going to be a Haaland and Semenyo.
Wow.
I think Semenyo is looking very, very good.
Wow. 4-0 at Old Trafford. Jeez.
Yeah.
I think I might give Man United a goal. I'm not sure why. Who's going to score for them?
Oh, actually, I forgot. Yeah, they've got no defence, City, have they? There's no defence.
Yeah, I'm going to give Man United a goal, but like you, mate.
Is it going to be Sesko, though? Is it going to be Sesko getting it, though? Because he's starting to look good, hasn't he?
Gunya? Possibly.
Yeah. And Buemo's back, isn't he, as well?
Oh,
just in time for him to visit us.
No, of course, yeah, standard. I'm going to go for a 3-1 City, I think.
Okay.
Next one, London Derby, Chelsea against Brentford.
In the past, I would have said Chelsea would be hands-on for this. But I've seen enough to say Brentford are fifth at the moment.
Mm.
Keith Andrews has done a superb job to get them back up the field. They know what they are. They are not flashy. Long ball, set pieces, use their physicality. They are all for that. And I think that's what they want. I think this is going to cause Chelsea a problem, actually, because I think they're struggling. What I saw yesterday was a lot of passing around the back and a lot of nervousness in their play. And this whole rotating the defence was really unusual. I know there's been some murmurings about the board want, their coach to keep rotating players in and out, which makes no sense because you can't settle the defence. I think Brentford have got a chance here. I'm going to go with a 2-2.
Unbelievable. That's exactly the result I was going to go for, Ian.
There's nothing wrong with doing the same.
I'm gonna go with it because my mind was very much a 2-2 for this one as well.
It's just got that feeling, hasn't it?
One of the games just looks like 2-2s they all on, didn't it?
Yeah.
Next one we have is Sunderland are at home to Crystal Palace.
I think Palace are on a slide, aren't they? They lost to Macclesfield quite badly. I don't think they've had a very good result. Oliver Glasner saying he's leaving, I think, has destabilised that squad. I think Sunderland at home are different prospect. We saw it against City. I think Sunderland get the win here. I'm going for a 2-1. Here you go. There's your 2-1.
Thank you.
2-1 to.
I've been waiting for that.
Yes. You're going to love my next 2-1. You're going to love my next 2-1 as well.
I'm going to go for a Sunderland 1-0. I feel like them home results for Sunderland, they've been solid at the back and couldn't get a goal. Obviously, I know they're missing a few players through AFCON, but I don't think it's affected them too much, to be honest. I think they've still sort of continued that good form. Maybe not at the
I think the defence looks really good. I really like Nordi Mukiele.
Yeah, good player. Very good player. Next one is Leeds at home to Fulham.
Fulham are an interesting one because they flatter to deceive. In some games they look really good, and then generally their season doesn't look great. I think Leeds have done really well, and I think they found the method to help them win games and become unstable, to destabilise teams. I think Leeds will win this one actually, and I'm going for a 3-1 to Leeds.
3-1.
I was going to say 2-1, but I thought if I did that, then you'd be on to me straight away.
It's fine, yeah, because I'm going to take the 2-1 for this one. Not a problem.
Oh, no, Joe, you little scum.
No, Joe, I'm going to go for 2-0. I think Leeds are really good at home. I think they've done quite well.
And we've got Leeds soon, haven't we? We've got Leeds soon, haven't we, away?
Yeah. Calvert-Lewin's been in banging form as well recently. So fair play to him. So yeah, I'm going to go for a 2-0 home win. Next one we have is Liverpool at home to Burnley.
Yeah, if you can't see anything, look, Liverpool have not been great, but Burnley they're going down. They're odds on to go down with Wolves. I think it's going to be a Liverpool 3-0 win.
Yeah, was Mo Salah back for this? Because they just got knocked out, didn't they?
I don't think he'll be back quick enough. I think he's going to have a break, isn't he? Because it's been. I think Ekitike's back though, so I think that changes their front line. That was what's different from the Arsenal game. They didn't have anybody, and also Burnley are rubbish. They just don't provide any threat at all. So I think Liverpool will be fine.
Yeah, similar to you, mate. The only difference is I'm going to go for 2-0 instead of 3. Just like Liverpool, in front of goal, they've struggled a bit this year. Ekitike's back, which is obviously helped them out, but they've not been blowing teams away like we've kind of been used to. So I think I'll go 2-0. Another London derby, Tottenham against West Ham.
This is at Spurs' ground, so you'd assume Spurs will be losing this one, but it's West Ham. West Ham are rubbish. Even their own fans know they're rubbish. I'm going to go for a Tottenham win here, and Conor Gallagher is going to be debuting. They'll be up for it. Can I just quickly touch upon this with you, Joe? There was a stat today that with Conor Gallagher, their spending in the same period that Mikel Arteta has been an Arsenal manager is $1 billion. That's mad, isn't it? That's the same amount that we've paid in that period.
But no one mentions it, did they? Arsenal spent £1 billion, and look where they are. Spurs have spent $1 billion and almost got relegated last year, but no one says anything. So, yeah, it's just
Matt. Is Conor Gallagher? Can I ask you? He's a good player, but is he the answer to what they've got the problem with? Because it looks like pretty similar to what they've got already, isn't it?
Don't get me wrong. Conor Gallagher is not going to turn Spurs into top 4 contenders. but he's a good player. He's a, he, he'll,
But he's more of the same, isn't
he's
he?
an
Isn't he
honest
more of the same though?
he's an
Isn't
honest
he
player.
more of the same?
Yeah, potentially, mate. Yeah, there's a lot of kind of similarish players. I don't think he has a sort of an X factor, if you like, but he's a solid player, mate. I think he'll do quite well there. I think there's enough about him that he could go into that side and be quite productive. Whether that's enough to propel them up the league and change their current run of form, I'm not sure. But he's a good player. He's a good signing for them. But obviously, when we sort of talk about these things, there are levels to this, and he at the moment is that kind of top level that Spurs are kind of shooting for, given the form they're in.
Fair enough. My score for this, I'm going to go with a 2-0 to Tottenham. I was going to say 2-1, but I think West Ham are terrible.
I'm going to give West Ham a goal just because the London derby. I know they are shocking, but Jared Bowen, I could see him nipping in behind a Romero while he's half asleep or arguing with someone. So I'm going to go for a Spurs.
Isn't Romero not in this game? Romero's sent off, wasn't he? So he's not in this game.
In that case, it might be a clean sheet. No, I'm going to go. I'll go 3-1. I think Bowen might get a goal, but I imagine Spurs will have far too much for West Ham because they're in a torrid season. The big one, yeah. Forest at home to Arsenal.
You know what score I'm going to go for because I told you earlier.
I've already wrote it down, mate. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's a 1-2 for me. I think Forest will get a goal because I just think we're showing signs of sloppiness, and I'm not particularly happy about it. But that's what's happening at the moment. And I think again, I'm going to make a bold prediction and tell me if you feel otherwise. It's going to be a low XG chance that we're going to concede.
I would say it's near nailed on, mate. To be honest, I like you, mate. I think this could be a bit of an ugly game. But I'm going to go for 1-0 to the Arsenal.
Ooh, that's bold.
I'm having faith that we are going to sort of look a bit more solid at the back. And if I remember correctly, City played Forest a couple of weeks back, only beat them 2-1. So they're not shipping. They might not be winning many Forest, but I don't think they're conceding a lot of goals or a lot of chances for that matter. So could be another set piece again, ole. But yeah, I'm going to go 1-0 to the Arsenal. Wolves at home to Newcastle.
Well, I mean, Wolves got their first win. I was so shocked at that, but obviously it was West Ham, so it's like it was like worse with worse. I think this one is going to. I think Newcastle will win this one. I still think they've got enough about them. I'm going to go with a 1-0 to Newcastle. Although they didn't look great against Man City, I'll be honest.
No, it was a weird game, that, wasn't it? They just didn't really. I mean, did City play well or did Newcastle terrible? Was it a bit of both?
It was a bit of both, and also Newcastle fell into the trap of trying to play the occasion and overdoing it.
Yeah.
They overexerted themselves so much that City just came through them quite easily.
Yeah, I think come the weekend, mate, they'll sort of bounce back because we know Wolves aren't up to much.
Yep.
So I'm going to go for a 0-2, I think. So 2-0 win for Newcastle.
Okay.
Villa against Everton. The 4:30 on Sunday.
I think Villa win this. They've had a week off. They're through to the next round. I think Everton are struggling a little bit with away games, especially at the Hill Dickinson. It's a different story. They look better, but I think Villa have got too much here. I didn't realise Daniel Martin's moved already. Until I saw it yesterday, I didn't realise he's gone to Roma. So that's an interesting one. But obviously they wanted Conor Gallagher, and their PSR problems are still causing them a problem. But I still think they've got enough. I'm going with a 2-0 to Everton. Sorry, to Villa. Sorry.
Completely undone everything you said.
Yes, I did. No, that's just my bad reading habits.
I think other than, I know they drew with Palace, but I think Villa were doing all right, weren't they, up until they played us? I think they beat West Ham, beat City, beat Forest, beat Chelsea. So they're definitely on good form, Villa. And like you said, having a week off will probably do them the world of good. Everton struggling somewhat, I agree with you, Em. So I think this will be a Villa win. What was your one again, sorry?
I went with a 2-0.
2-0. I'm going to go... I'm going to go for a. I reckon I'm going to get a goal. No, they're not. I'll go 3. I'll go 3-0 Villa.
Okay.
And the penultimate game of the weekend to top us off, it is Brighton at home to Bournemouth.
Bournemouth beat Tottenham obviously in their last game, but their form has been woeful for the last couple of weeks.
No Semenyo.
Although they look no Semenyo. This is the first time without Semenyo, isn't it? This is the first game without him properly, isn't it? I think Brighton actually will do well in this game. I think it's going to be a draw, though. I think I'm going to go for a 1-1 because I think both sides are very good, but they have got flaws in their game.
Yeah. Brighton beat Man United, didn't they, last time out?
Yep.
I think Brighton and Bournemouth are in similar form, aren't they? I think this could be a draw as well. Yeah. Do you know what? I'm going to go for another Desmond. I'll have a 2-2 this one, I think.
It's a Desmond.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-2. It seems like it could be a game with a few goals in it. I can imagine Welbeck getting a couple. Yeah, but 2-2, another draw. So, yeah, the predictions are back, mate. Many, many months we've had to kind of reassess where we are. We've been able to kind of think about what we're doing. Are we on the right path with these results that we're doing, our score predictions? We're going to come back now. We're going to be better at it. And we're going to go into the second half of the season and we're going to nail this, yeah. That's going to be points galore going forward from us from now on. So,
Positive.
Yeah,
I like that.
I look forward to seeing how we get on, mate, because it's been a while. So maybe the break will do us some good.
Let's see how we do. But we'll leave it at that. The supercomputer is locked in, and we'll see how our predictions do. But for now, we're going to leave it there. We will be back in after the Nottingham Forest game to do a post-review show, hopefully. But for now, thank you very much, Joe. If you have enjoyed the content, please do consider subscribing to us on your favorite podcast channel, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, or on YouTube as well. We appreciate it. We appreciate all of your support. Please do keep the comments coming. Please feedback. We love hearing from anyone who listens to us. But for now, thank you very much for listening. We'll catch you on the next one of Red Lines Half Spaces. Bye for now.